Hello everyone. He says here I'm live. Let me just set it up a bit better. So I think if I'm playing later, so you can see my guitar. Let me see. Try this. All right, so we're back for another live hangout, and this is mostly for there are a few people here now, but this is for the benefit of those who are watching later, so you don't have to sit through 10 minutes of me waiting. So I'll just talk a little bit. Today's idea is to talk about self-producing music and self-releasing, recording and producing and releasing music, because it's a big thing for a lot of you guys that are because home studios has really opened the door to it. So there's a lot of questions about copyright and distribution services. But before we get going with that, as always, please let me know where you're from, say hello, the good stuff, and then we'll get going. In the meantime, if you've noticed, I haven't posted any 1-minute videos this week. It's because I'm stuck here. Hello there. Hi. Hey, Alex. I haven't posted the 1-minute videos because I'm still here at home, and 2 is okay, but I don't want that series to go too low on production value. It's not like a big thing, but I thought I just wait till I can get back to the studio and then we'll take over from there. But in the meantime, we're still meeting here every Thursday. So once the quarantine is lifted, we might not be able to do this on Thursday, but I like to keep it going if you guys want to. So today I'm going to talk about producing music, releasing it, promoting it, all that stuff, publishing maybe a little bit, or publishing management at least, and stuff like that. So in the meantime, we're just waiting for the room to fill up a bit. It takes a while. I might play a song or two, maybe just one. Burned my finger on a tube yesterday. I was fixing an amp, biasing, and it had a couple of things that were wrong with it. And I touched the power tube, and it just went like, and so maybe I just play one song today. But anyway, before we start, maybe there's a question I had last time and I couldn't answer. Yeah, power tubes get hot, and you should be careful. But the thing is, I was trying 2 different sets, and I thought that the set that was on was cold and that it had just been put in, but no, it had been there for like 20 minutes. So I touched it and it just went, like Indiana Jones, when he takes the medallion. So I have the Marshall logo now burned into my flesh. And as always, please say hello, let me know where you're from as soon as you get in, just so that I can pretend I'm not talking to a screen. I know I'm talking to you, but... And anyway, so one question I had before this gets going was about chords and how many chords you should know. And so before we talk about the publishing thing, I'm going to talk about chords. And there are many chords you should know, but I would say you should know major, minors, fifths, diminished. Then you should know your sevenths, major sevenths, minor sevenths, dominant seventh. And to begin with, that's enough, and the suspended. So I'm going to give you one of each, just one, so you can practice while we're waiting, all right? So the first one, on the 6th string, we'll do this little nice major 7th chord. It's 3 on the 6th string, and then on the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd is 4, 4, and 3. Right? And this, of course, you can move it anywhere you want. Beautiful chord, and there's a lot of inversions for it, but this is the easiest one to play. Well, one of the easiest ones. And then if you want to do it just the dominant 7th, you just lower this finger and you have this 3, 3, 4, 3. This will serve you well with all the blues stuff, right? And then there's the minor 7th, also in the same position. Right now we lower both of them and we go 3, jump 1 string, 3, 3, 3. Is always transposable. So if you want to play like a 2-5-1, that's your minor 7th, G7th that we saw before, and C major 7th. The first one we saw. Now, of course, people will say, well, but there are many positions to play that. Yeah, but the sound is almost the same, and you only have to learn one. I'm an advocate for learning everything, but in the beginning, it can be intimidating. So you can just do this, right? Just the 3 positions I did. And then you should know your major and minor, very easy. Right, like an F, if you just learn your bar chords, this is all you need in the beginning. And then we'll do sus4, always from the same spot, right, from the same G major. We raise this fret on the 3rd fret of the 3rd string, we go up to the 4th fret, and sus4. Beautiful chord, ambiguous, is not major nor minor. And then we have sus2. That's a bit harder, so I'm just going to give you another position for it. And it's like this: 3, 5, 7. I love this chord. You can make it bigger, but this is an easy one. I've written a lot of songs with this, actually too many. And what else did I say was useful? That's it. Major, minor. Yeah. Sus2 and 4 are beautiful transitional chords. Actually, yeah, I use them all the time, and I use them. Well, sus4 is a bit more in your face. I'm not as big a fan of that, but sus2 is great to move it to minor. I have some songs that are built just around this. There's California. Get these nice almost melodies in your chords just by raising the 2nd, because the 2nd doesn't mix as much with the root and the 5th, so it has this, it kind of picks its head out of the chord, you know what I mean? It's not blend as the other ones, so it works very well. So some people are coming in. Please say hello, let me know where you're from, and we'll get going talking about producing music and marketing, you know, that kind of stuff, self-releasing music. And if you have any questions, we can get going, I guess, and then more people will join. I never know what to do the first 10 minutes, because that's how long it takes for people to come in. Maybe I should get one of those screens. I don't know how to do it. Hello, AE. How are you? It's good to see you. Carlos, what's up? All right, so it's livening up a bit. So as I was saying, if you have any questions about self-producing your music, I will answer. Otherwise, I'll just talk a little bit about it. But there's many things we can talk about. There's the actual creation process, which maybe we won't get into today, like writing music. Recording is an interesting thing. We can talk about that. Then there's you know, the mixing and mastering. And I know Alex here from the Safinados, he's just fresh out of making a record. So, you know, he knows what's up. He knows the work. And then there's releasing it, you know, and all that comes with it, like copyright. That's worrisome for a lot of people, but it shouldn't be. That's very easy. It's easier now than it used to be. And then there's you know, the publishing and the marketing. So, okay, Alex, you ask about if it's worth, is it worth nowadays releasing physical copies? Right. That's a big question. Depending on your age, you can't quite conceive a record without physical copies, right? And it is true that now, if I talking from my own experience, 90% of everything that goes on with music now, for me at least, is online. That is streaming with Spotify and iTunes and Amazon. And there's also, hello Sean, good morning. And Carlos, home producing is a great topic, especially now we are all locked in. That's right. So, what was I saying? Yeah, physical copies for the Safinados. There's a whole section of the industry that still moves around physical copies. And I'm going to give you 2 examples. One of them is radio. And the other one is reviews, right? That means blogs and physical magazines, which are fewer and fewer, but they still need the physical copy. So here's one thing, right? You have to spend quite a bit, we'll talk about the money later, but you have to spend quite a bit of money making these CDs. And really the only public for it will be people who will help you promote it, which is radio um, and magazines. So basically what you're paying for is promotion. The problem is that when you send your CDs to radio stations and magazines or blogs cold, like they don't know you, then sometimes it just, well, often it just gets ignored, right? So that's promotion money that's wasted. That being said, I find that when you do land on a radio, for example, in America, there's a few radios that are very supportive of my music, and I see it. I see the results of it, and of course, just that's why we make music so people can hear it. But you can actually see the actual tangible results of having promotion on radio, and that's just from me sending the CDs out and then slowly building relationships with DJs and representatives of the radio stations. And magazines too, right? But magazines is a bit stranger now because there's so much stuff coming out, right? And magazines need to produce media all the time. So while a radio still has to, there's only 24 hours in a day, so the radio has to choose between all the stuff, among all the stuff that they get, which ones they actually, put out on the radio. Magazines tend to just publish everything, and we'll talk about that. And so I think the better results are from radio. But magazines give you something that's really important, which is quotes. So you get a CD out, you give it to them, and they write an article. And in the end, of course, you want the radio to be, you want the magazine to like your record. But whatever the review is, there's always some phrases you can use, and those are called quotes. And those are quotes you can then publish on your website with, who wrote it. So that being said, I make CDs of everything for these two reasons, because I want my stuff to be on the radio and on that. And also because some fans want CDs. I still sell CDs, and even though right now the shop is closed because I was renewing my website and this whole thing hit and I'm without a website. But CDs are important for some fans, they want the CD. And also because once you check out the cost of them, which is about maybe $1 or €1 per CD, maybe sometimes less, sometimes more. If you make 1,000, it's probably less. Then you have kind of calling cards that you can give away in a way. So you can give, if you know somebody in the industry, you can just give them 5 CDs and they can move them around for you. And you don't have to worry so much about it. Sending a link, is like, well, give me your phone, I'm gonna send you a link, then you go on Dropbox and you download them and you listen to them, forget it. But the CD, you put them on in the car and it's a lot easier. And there's another thing about CDs that sometimes people don't think about, is that this format, I know I have my discography here, there's a few missing, but this is from 2013, right? Back then, you still made CDs like this, plastic, and it's heavier. So shipping this, if you ship 2 of them, it already jumps up the scale for shipping. So if you buy them in Australia from me, and we mailed it out to you, then we have to pay a lot more in postage, right? Then Lights and Shadows came out in 2016. Check this out. This is a little digipack. You can open it. There's a little thing inside, and it's cool. Nice artwork. You can see it. It's big, and this is twice as light as the other one. So we can ship more of these for less money. By the way, you also use a lot less plastic. So, and this is the one from 2019. They get smaller and smaller. This is just a sleeve, right? And the reason is that you use a lot less paper and plastic. Again, shipping hundreds of these to America, for example, it uses a lot less fuel, which sounds stupid, but if we all did it, it would make a big difference. And also it's a lot cheaper to move them around, to ship them, even to produce them. And so I would suggest you make at least 500 to 1,000 CDs of everything you do. And some of them will be sitting at your house or at your studio, but you have something that's always available to give out, because people will like to receive a CD, even if it's just for promotion. But they would not like a link to your Dropbox. I can guarantee you that. Okay, so Alex, my suggestion is that you should make, well, not you, but we should all make CDs. Understanding the fact that they're not the CDs we used to make or buy when we were kids. It's just not the same thing. You're not going to sell thousands of them probably. I wish you will, but I hope that you will, but realistically you won't. Okay, so I see more people are coming in. Please say hello, let me know where you're from, and we're talking about self-producing and self-releasing your music. And since I have quite a bit of experience with that, I thought maybe I could help you out and answer some questions. And, just say hello and ask away. and then I'll play a song later. Although it's a pretty hard song to play, and I need to warm up. So forgive me if I do this while we talk. So yeah. Anyway, that's about CDs. But the other thing about CDs is that the mastering. So okay, yeah, this is an important thing. So if you make a file for sharing, mastering is already important, but it's a bit less important, because as long as your master adheres to some guidelines, so that when you convert a CD quality, or even better quality, HD quality files to MP3s for Spotify and iTunes, that conversion sometimes can create some problems. For example, in the beginning, people used to master their CD quality audio or their high definition files like very close to zero, like at minus 0.1 dB. Now, when they got converted, it sometimes created a lot of distortion in the Spotify and in the FLAC and the AAC. Well, not FLAC, but AAC, MP3. All those files that they're used to share and to stream. And so now, slowly we're learning to do masters that are properly mastered, so that when they get converted to digital streaming, they won't suffer. So if you do your masters yourself, that's fine, as long as you take care of that, and of course of the sound. But when you get into production, for example, most manufacturing plants for CDs require a file that's called a DDP file. It's a file that includes everything. It includes the times of the songs, all the correct information for each song, the titles, authors, I think. There's a code for each song. There's a code for the whole album. This is used so that when it spreads out through the world as CDs, and there's a UPC code, and every time that something from the CD is used, it can be traced back by your publishing, management or whatever it is. We'll talk about that too. It's a pretty big subject. And so it's important that if you do release an actual record, you have a knowledge of proper mastering, because all that information is included, and there's a very serious software that takes care of it, and I don't know how to use it. And by the way, I don't trust my ears to do mastering, and so it doesn't concern me, because I always send my stuff out for mastering to the great John Cooneyberry, and he has it all under control, so I just give it to him and he masters. But the actual, clerical, meaning, all the little office-like bureaucratic details of printing CDs, it's important. And so if you get into printing, you should understand that a mastering engineer takes care of the sound, but it also takes care of all the steps bureaucratically that are necessary for a CD to be printed. Okay? So that's the thing about CDs. I think I don't have a lot more to say about them. So if you have any other questions regarding that, otherwise we can move on maybe to distribution. Some people have questions about distribution partners like CD Baby and TuneCore, that stuff. Some people have questions about the actual production of music. So I'll wait for your questions. They don't have to be about this, of course. You can ask anything you want, but we can stay on topic for a little while and then move on. I'll wait patiently and warm up my fingers in case I play a song for you later. Okay, so see, these are the worst times, because I'm sitting here and I don't know if somebody's typing or not. Okay, well, maybe there were some more questions. Too much money, I suppose. The CDs, well, they don't have to be that expensive, really. You can choose a package that's a bit smaller, like this, thinner. They're not that expensive. They're useful for radio. You might have to sell them a little cheaper. Like instead of 12, you can sell them for 10. But nowadays, you always have to sell them for cheap, because people don't really buy CDs. Okay, but they're still a useful thing. I will say this, Alex. Every time I make a record, I think I'm not gonna print CDs. Every time, and then I always end up doing it. So, that's my answer. Okay, there's another thing I was kind of wondering about. Do you mix the albums by yourself? Okay, yeah, I do. I mix all my records ever since the beginning. Well, not the first EP. The first EP was mixed at a studio. We recorded that EP in 2 days, including the mixing was 3 days with the mixing. So, but since Power were fantastic, I mixed all my records. I have to say. And it's gotten a lot better with time. I remember mixing Power Fantastic. I had no idea how to do pretty much anything. I almost had no idea how to use EQ compressors. I had no idea, and it was all these free plugins with Pro Tools that I used. Terrible stuff. But it came out all right. And then again, John, the first time we worked together, he kind of fixed it a little bit in the mastering. Some songs kind of hold up to this day, but that was my first one. And then it got better with Fill the Sky. We did live drums, and that's a whole other can of worms, but they got a bit better. And then I think things started to click with Lights and Shadows with this record, which I hear, and also in reviews and stuff like that, I keep hearing that it sounds great, so that's good. And then they keep evolving. So this one is the last one, and it evolved a bit more. The problem is when you mix, you think you have it figured out, and then as soon as you change some parameters, like for example, this record is really based a lot more on Lights and Shadows sound awesome. Well, thanks. Yeah, well, thank you. Yep, it's a random achievement. I don't think I know what I did there, but this record is a lot more based on just the drums, but a lot of them are electronic. And so everything you kind of figured out how to do on acoustic, it gets thrown out the window. I should have just made two records, but I hate to make two records, one after the other that sound the same. And so sometimes I jump in and see what happens, So yeah, that's for mixing. And then if you want to talk about distributors, we can talk a little bit about how they work, like CD Baby and TuneCore, and I don't know what you guys use. What did you use on your record? Both of them. You guys have released stuff. If you have released anything, let me know what company you used for releasing it. Oh wait. DistroKid. Okay. Wish I could look it up. I don't know exactly the conditions of it, but yeah, DistroKid. Well, usually it works like this. Some of them are free, and some of them charge you, but there are a few totally free that do the work too. Yeah. So here's the thing, right? Some of them you pay. I've used a lot. Now I coalesced everything. DistroKid too. Okay. I coalesced everything with CD Baby now, so all my stuff is released by them. But before I used different ones. I used TuneCore as well, and they're all different in the sense that they charge you for something, right? For example, TuneCore, if I remember correctly, they charge you once a year, and then you kept everything you made, right? I know CD Baby keeps. This is all only for sales, right? Sales and streams. I'm not talking about publishing. That's a different thing. But sales and streams, where you kept everything with TuneCore, and you pay 9% to CD Baby. So here's the thing, because some people think, well, if I only sell 5 records, let's say 10 records a piece, right? 10 euros a piece or dollars. If I sell 5 records, I've already covered TuneCore. That is true, but you're only paying 9% to CD Baby, right? So or let's say 10%. So you will need to sell 500 CDs, right, to make up to lose 50 to CD Baby. And depending on how much you sell, some people don't get to move that much. And then the other thing that I decided to switch is because it doesn't matter how much I sell of each. For example, some of them are doing very well, like Lights and Shadows, and even Mystic Electric. Fill the Sky has one, which is a popular song, and it's used sometimes for other things, so I get something from that. But Power Fantastic is a niche record, and so they sum up, right? So if you have 5 records, I also have an EP, so I have 5 records out. And if I have to pay 50, 100 or 80 a year for each one of them, it builds up real quick. And then every time I make more records, because I make a lot of records, then it keeps getting higher and higher. So you kind of have to calculate how much you want to pay up front. So CD Baby for me is a big thing, is a good thing. And then they keep 9% of everything that is streamed or sold, which I think it's a kind of a fair thing. I don't have a problem with it. I know some guys are free, and then you also have to think about the publishing, right? For example, CD Baby has a partnering publishing deal where they keep, I think it's 15% of the publishing. And publishing is a whole different subject, but when somebody uses your music, they pay publishing. You still get the mechanical royalty, which is what you actually play, the actual recording. But the publishing, so CD Baby or TuneCore, they go out and they make it available for people to use your music. And then when the money for that use comes in, this is how we split with CD Babies: 15% for them and 85% to the artist. I don't know how it works with DistroKid but you should have a publishing partner. They're called publishing affiliate or publishing managers or publishing associate. And that's what they do. So you should look into it, because if one day it gets picked up on radio or on TV or YouTube, you should be able to get paid for it. But yeah, if you're not moving a lot of stuff, then it doesn't really make a big difference. It's sometimes it's very few dollars you make. But if something hits a bit bigger, then you do want to collect it. So yeah, and I don't know, CD Baby kind of works fine, and they had a store. I don't think the store is available anymore. They don't sell their own MP3s, I think, anymore, because people just go to iTunes and to Spotify and Amazon. Do you guys use does anybody use Amazon Music to listen to music, not to buy it, but to listen to actual streams on Amazon? I don't know anybody who listens to music on Amazon. So I was wondering, and nobody plays my music on Amazon. They buy it sometimes, but nobody ever, I think, streams my music on there. Do you guys listen to music on Amazon? Don't think so. Yeah, I know. Do you know anyone who does? Somebody must, otherwise they wouldn't have it, but I don't think I know anybody who listens to music on Amazon. And then there's what else is there to talk about self-production? Well, I just leave it at that, promotion and stuff. I'll just answer questions if you guys want. Otherwise, we can move on. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about? Or maybe I should just play a song. There's so few of us today. I don't know where everybody is. Maybe I should stop making these videos. No, I'm kidding. I'll keep making them, but I think there's so much people doing these live things right now. So maybe I'll just play a song, okay? Just for you, because you guys are cool that are here. So this one is song number 9 on Lights and Shadows. It's called Spitting at Night. It's a rock and roll song. As always, I hope you can hear it. I did use Amazon Music at work. There are many songs. Yeah, I just don't know. You're the first person I ever talked to who listens to Amazon Music. Anyway, I'm gonna play this song. You might be the only one. Yeah, you might well be. Yeah. I'm gonna try to play this with cold hands. Let's see how it goes. This is called Spitting at Night, alright? Okay, well, they're not gonna get warmer now, so let's go. bad I fucked up that note. So that's when I would usually punch in and fix it. But yeah, this one's called Speeding at Night. It's a simple rock song, you know, nothing fancy, but it's fun to play when you warm up. And oh, what did I do? Wait, shit. Okay, here it is. Cool. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it open to questions now. There's not many of us today, so we'll see. But if you have any more questions, hi Andre, about mastering, what loofs should I have for CD Baby? What's a loof? I'm sorry, I don't know what a loof is. Is that a code, like a UPC code? No. Oh yeah. Sorry, sorry. Well, minus 14, the final volume. Well, yeah, you know what? Actually, there's usually, I know this from a very reputable source. Most modern rock records, they have -7, which is nothing, you know. So more conservative people, and usually more expert mastering engineers who are not pressured by labels, they do -12. -12 is already pretty breathy, you know. -12 is fine. The thing is, yeah, that's just a perceived thing though. And so it's a bit of a, that's one of those things you pay a good engineer for. So I'm not gonna give you advice on it, but what I do know is that those are the numbers more or less. Like a lot of them are mastered up to -6, -7, -8. Anything below 10, I think approximately would be acceptable, but you know, depending on what software you use. I'm not a big expert on it because I don't have the software. I just know it from talking to people. But one thing that's really useful is make sure you don't have any clipping. Sometimes it slips by, and once it's out, you know, you're screwed. So I never clip my mixes. That's one thing. My mixes are really low. Usually they're way below. If I go up to -6, -7, that's already quite a bit. I usually work at -10, 11, 12. And then when I do the bus compression and, you know, some EQ maybe at the end, but, you know, it's on from the beginning of the mix, but on the master, then sometimes it goes up to, you know, -9, -8, and maybe deliver at -6 to the mastering engineer. But yeah, no clipping is the big thing. And then I don't know what John does exactly, but I have asked him sometimes to lower the total thing. And I think we went so low as to -0.3 or even -0.5 sometimes. For CD, I think you can go crazier than for streaming. Yeah, well, I don't know. I do know, but that's I think that's something different though. That has to do with the ceiling you put on your limiter, and that's the problem that a lot of people had in the beginning. They were used to clip, you know, almost clip the meter, just go to -0.1 for example, and then the conversion just screwed it. But for the publishing part of CD Baby, doesn't this contrast with the royalty society like CI? Well, that's the thing. If you are a member of CI, for example, then there are two things you do with CI, right? You do either you only protect your song. We haven't talked about copyright. If you can get into it if you want. You know, with my limited knowledge, I know what works. You know, I know what I need to know in a sense, but you can just go to CI and record. You know, like leave your song, and it will be protected. Nobody's going to listen to it. You know, the thing is, if anything should happen, then you can go back and say, look, I had this register at this, you know, at date so and so, and you came out with the song like 6 months later, and so on. And that to me, protecting the song has become quite obsolete in a way, because, you know, before we used to work in a home studio with a cassette, and then somebody took the cassette and you had nothing to prove it. But now you have your computer with session after session after session after session. You have all these versions of your songs. They're documented with time code, you know, and if anybody steals it, then you'll have your first copy. You have when you sing it in the iPhone, right? Yeah, that's true with CI, but you can do that with any publishing company. If you choose CI, that's great. But it's a different service though. If you just go and, a lot of people go there to protect their song, that does not do the publishing thing, right? At least that's how it was 25 years ago when I lived there. But for example, when I lived in America, I used to send my CDs to my music to the Congress, and they protect it, but it has nothing to do with publishing. So you can choose CD Baby as your publisher, and then they will do that. And as far as protecting the song, once it's published, if your CD came out this day, and then it is. Usually you have as I said, you have your sessions. Sometimes people just put it up on YouTube. People who make reviews, for example, there's so many channels making reviews of gear you don't need. But we'll talk about this some other time. But they make these songs and it's already protected. Nobody can go there and steal it. Okay, so for publishing, CD Baby would be a CI competitor. Not a competitor. It doesn't really matter who collects your publishing, right? I don't know the deal with, if you make a deal with the CI or SGAI here in Spain, or ASCAP or BMI, they will take care of it. But the people who actually go out and move, and give access to your music, these are the partners that you have. In my case, it's CD Baby. And to me, it's all about radio. Really, sometimes somebody's used it on a YouTube video, which is the other thing. Now YouTube figures it out for you. So YouTube lets me know. But I think most of my music now is also going through CD Baby for YouTube, so I don't have to deal with it. If somebody uses my music, then CD Baby gets the call, and they just give me the money minus their commission, okay, which can be either 9% for mechanicals or 15% for publishing. But unless you move big numbers, I don't think it's a big deal, and it takes it out of your hands, which sometimes is good. I don't know the exact deal with CI now. How does it work? Do you know how it works? Yeah, so somebody plays a concert, one of your songs, and they have to let their own. If in Spain somebody does, they have to publish it so this guy knows that you play somebody's song. Then that all gets put into this pool where all the publishing companies go and say, well, this was my artist and that was my artist. It doesn't really work like that. It's a big sum, and it gets mathematically figured out who gets the money. But the idea is that it gets put all together and then subdivided later. So you don't have to worry about if it's this guy or what. Whoever takes care of your publishing, that's what happens. Unless I'm missing something, but I don't think so. Yeah. So as long as you have a publisher, they will get the information they need, like who played your songs, where, and then you get the money. Okay, but mainly the big things here, unless you are, if you wrote Jingle Bells, then you should get a lawyer and a publisher, and you should do all that. But if you're writing music that I write, that sometimes gets used here and there for a video, or maybe like a little ad somewhere, or some people just like it and they use it at their wedding, then those are the things that are hard to control. Then it works for me, and then YouTube is taken care of by YouTube itself, and then Spotify, all the streaming companies, they go through CD Baby. So I think I'm pretty much covered. But if you have something way bigger on your hands, then of course you should get professionals, because there's always loops and stuff like that. But otherwise, loopholes, but otherwise I wouldn't worry too much about it. A publisher is like editorial. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. That's exactly what it is. But that's the thing though, when you make a CD, well, now it gets a bit weird, but sometimes a company says, okay, well, we like your songs, we're going to publish it. We're going to make the CDs and put it out there, distribute it. They will ask for, like, for example, 50% on the publishing. They will ask for a portion of your publishing, and that's really up to you to decide which one, if it's worth it or not. If Sony comes along and if they want 50%, well, it's Sony. How many records would you sell without them? I'm not gonna get into it. But so anyway, basically there are these things. Like there's the writing. The writing is who wrote the song is the owner of that part, and then there's the copyright, which means who's the owner of the song. Like you can write it but lose the copyright. You know what I mean? To somebody else because they paid for it, and then they're free to use the song any way they want. And then there's the publishing, which is the actual reproduction of the song out there, not in the physical format. So radio, TV, concerts. Yeah. So yeah, anything deeper than that, I think I kind of know what about it, but I wouldn't want to divulge too much because they might get people on the wrong path. So, but for most people, if you're not moving tons of music, I would say a good deal worked out properly, and you know what you're signing with any of these distributors is fine. And then you know they're non-exclusive, so CD Baby, they cannot tell me where to sell my CDs. You know what I mean? You have control over your part, and they have control over theirs. They pay and they keep their share. I think it's fine. And as far as protecting your songs is, you know, again, if you do have something that it really needs protecting beyond what's normal nowadays, I think you should probably hire a lawyer. Otherwise, your CD and your YouTube channel and your Pro Tools sessions are enough, you know. So any more questions? And we need to change the format a little bit of these things, because sometimes we get like 20 people in the room, sometimes there's nobody, and I enjoy it anyway because you guys are great all the time, but sometimes it feels like we should be reaching more people, you know, with stuff that's important. Like today, I'm sure more people out there have these questions, and we could have started a conversation that would help more people. And I'll keep the video up, but maybe there's a different time we could try, or a different day of the week. I won't be able to keep Thursdays anyway. What about vinyl? Oh, vinyl. I don't print vinyl. You know what? The thing about vinyl is to properly print vinyl properly is, you know, so that it's not just a little like a trinket that you keep in your house. It's a different master. So for example, the bass response, you know, the mix and the master especially has to be different for vinyl. And most people don't do it. Most people actually take their CDs, and you know, they ask me when I printed this, like, we want vinyl. So they take this CD and ship it out, and they make a vinyl out of it. So it would sound like it's the same file, right? So except for the noise that your vinyl player makes, you'll get the same sound, but a bit worse. And so vinyls are really just for collectors, you know, people who really enjoy that, miss that. But you have to think about new artwork or the same artwork, but then you have to think about a lot more about it because you have to fill all these pages. And they're quite pricey. So I looked into it, and making a few of them, like 100, and selling 100 vinyls is not easy, but they're very expensive. And so you have to charge a lot for them. And I don't know, at the stage that I'm at, you know, with the amount of stuff I sell and stream, you know, I don't think it's other than just to say that I made a vinyl record, I don't think it's viable. But you know, if you have a good delivery system, it might be. The thing is they're expensive. Even if you make quite a bit of them, they're expensive. So much so that even big bands and big artists, sometimes they don't make vinyls because it's just too much money. Did you ever write a song from another artist? Do you know how this works? If they pay you for the song you've written, or you... Okay, no, I never made covers. No, I never did a cover. But you can do the cover thing. The thing is, when you register it, for example, on your whoever distributes your music, you have to say, you know, who the actual... Oh, not a cover? Oh, I know what you mean. I know. Somebody who wrote this song and I recorded it. Okay, so I would be the first one to record it. Okay, so somebody made a song for me and I recorded it. No. I have too many songs already. But how would that work? Well, if they keep 100% of the writing, then they will be the owners of the writing. You might be the owner of the copyright, of the actual physical. I mean, if you're a songwriter. So, I'm not sure I get... Wait, did I miss something? If they pay you for the song you've written, or you earn... Oh, no, that is totally to do with what you agree with them, right? So you mean you wrote a song for somebody? You wrote a song for another artist, right? Not from... Okay, I guess that's what you meant. Yeah. So, no. You write the song, right? And that depends on the deal you make with the people who are going to record it and release it. So you might say, okay, I recorded the song. I mean, I wrote the song and I'm going to sell it to you for 10,000 euros. right? And they can pay for the song, but then they have free use of it. They keep the publishing, they keep the copyright, they keep everything. And it will actually say that they wrote it. That's not unheard of. It happens a lot of times. And so they'll pay you the sum today, and that's it. You're out of the picture. You will not, probably you sign some kind of NDA that says you should never talk about it, that you wrote the song. Kiss used to have people play for them on the records instead of the original members sometimes, instead of, especially Ace Frehley and Peter Criss sometimes didn't play drums or guitar, but on the record it did say that they played it. So that's a thing on the side. So if you're the songwriter and I say here's 10,000 euros and disappear, ghostwriting, yeah, kind of, but yeah, it is actually they become the writers, right? The other option is that you can share the writing. For example, sometimes you never heard about it. Oh yeah, it happens all the time. And if there's another thing, and I'm talking from just knowledge and knowing people, but it never happened to me, so take this with a grain of salt, but if I'm not sure of something, I will say it. This actually works. The other thing that can happen is that you write the song, and I say, well, okay, but recording the song, I will add some things, because maybe you just give me a chart with the melody line, and I will change a little bit the melody line, and then how about the lyrics? If I wrote the lyrics, did you write the lyrics? So sometimes what you do is you kind of creep in, or they creep into your writing to get a share of the writing. It doesn't have to be 50-50. So when you go and register the song, you can get it registered as 60-40, for example, or 70-30. So, and that's totally unregulated. So you can say, well, how much songwriting is this drum fill worth? Well, you say nothing. Okay, well, how much songwriting is worth if I change the last verse? Yeah, it can be illegal, but yeah, it does happen. But the most common thing would be, okay, well, maybe a share songwriting, right? As I was saying, like, well, the producer says, okay, but in the studio we'll change the song a bit, move verses and choruses. If we move a verse, we need another verse, and so the guy will come up with the new lyrics, maybe a new melody, maybe there's going to be a new section that the song needs. So we don't want to have to deal with you every time. Let's just split the songwriting or do a share of the songwriting. And then the copyright, that depends on who owns the master. And I own all my masters. That means that I'm the only person who can decide what happens to my songs. You cannot make a compilation CD of my songs without my permission, and so on. Usually labels don't work like that. So when you are an artist for a label, they own the master. So when you actually walk out of the studio, if you wrote the song, you are the writer, and you might split the publishing with them. That's a different thing. But the actual physical copy that you recorded, like a tape, right, or the hard drive, belongs to the label. So they pay you to give them that product. And the problem with it is, well, there's many problems with it, but it can work great. It can work great for, if a big label comes along, I might give them my masters. I don't know, but probably not. But the thing is, they can go out, for example, and make compilation CDs. Like, how many best-ofs have you seen of people? Like, there's tons of them. And the reason is probably that they don't own the masters, and the label says, okay, well, this artist hasn't made a record in 5 years. We're gonna put out a best of ballads or whatever. And if they own all the masters for all those sessions, they can do that as they please, because they actually own the master. And then if they sell a lot of those, then the royalties for that, they will be shared, of course, but you cannot control what they do with your music. And conversely, if you recorded Purple Rain, like Prince, and you want to release Purple Rain again, you can't unless you own the master. So even if it's your song, if nobody's questioning that you wrote 100% of the song, even if you have the publishing, whatever, but you cannot go out and make a CD of that song, because it's not yours, it's the label's. And so again, there are conditions that would justify giving up your master, I think, sometimes, especially for somebody who's, making strange music that I make. And if a big label came along and put at my disposal this big machine, maybe I would say yes. But the usual smart advice is to never give away your masters and the publishing. Those are the two big things. You know, stealing songs is not a big deal. I know when we started out with music in small towns, we all worried about people stealing our songs, and like, I wish, you know, somebody thought it was as good to steal it. And you know, it's not a big deal about copyright. Sometimes it happens, you hear about it, but there are millions of songs that get released and nothing happens. So the big thing when you get scammed usually are the masters and the publishing, because they take away your control of the use of the music, not just the money. You know, it's the actual use of the music. So yeah. So I hope that was useful. So I maybe we should do this again sometimes about this kind of stuff. And you know, if you have experiences that you had, we can share them. You can use the comments, of course. Otherwise, we can just meet up again and talk about it. But I'm thinking about maybe switching the time or the day for this, just to get more people going. And maybe do it not once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks or something. You know, it would be nice to build it up a little more. Very interesting topic. Yeah, it is interesting. And you know, more people are doing this stuff. They're recording their music, and then they get scared, you know, and they don't know what to do with it, how to do it. So, and sometimes you know, you sign up with these services and you just say, okay, well, they take care of it. But you should at least know what you signed, you know, and if you gave away anything, what it is. Yeah. So anyway, maybe we should leave it here. And I go cure my finger because it hurts. I touched the power tube yesterday and burned my fingers, both of them, like that. What an idiot. So you should have watched my videos for advice, right? Victor, hello. You get here a bit late, I guess. But hello, what's up? And I keep playing, you see? My fingers are hurting and I still play. I'm an idiot. Alright guys, so yeah, see you soon everyone. Victor, if you have a question, we'll wait for you. Otherwise, we'll reconvene. Maybe let's keep it on Thursday for next week, and then we'll see how that goes. Okay, let's give Victor a second, see if he wanted to ask anything. So again, thanks to everyone who was here. It's great, you know, talk a little bit about music. And today is fine. It's nice because I get to hear what you guys are doing. So, and I guess all of you are kind of into recording or at least release some music, which is great. Look at that. Yeah. All right. Well, how about we reconvene next Thursday, 6:30, and bring your friends. Yeah, Carlos, you're welcome. Thank you all guys for showing up. And it's a select group for now, but let's try to build it up a bit maybe next time. All right. Yeah, it was great talking to you, everyone. So take care, be safe. There's just a few more weeks to go, I think. Then we'll get back to normal, kind of. So too late. Hey man, what's up? Yeah, I do recognize you. Yeah. Wait, don't worry about it, man. We'll do it again next week. All right. Bring your friends if you can, and if not, we'll just be us, and it'll be fun anyway. See you soon. Bye bye. See you.